All right, El Henshaw again, the walking constitution out here in San Francisco. And another very important case that's just been decided here. This one, at the moment at least, not from the 90 parts, or I mean the U.S. Supreme Court, but it's called Jarkesy versus SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. And the Fifth Circuit, for those of you that don't know, is maybe the most conservative Court of Appeals in the country. And in the last year and a half, they've made some particularly interesting decisions, given what you normally see. But this one, talking about SEC and non-delegation, seems like totally unrelated to your case. It's not. As that non-delegation, what it means is the SEC was acting as its own, prosecutor and judge at one and the same time. Virtually no way to get any kind of a fair hearing there whatsoever. And this Jarkesy, and I'd like to read the brief they submitted, but they added other issues I'd love to see in there. I don't know, but they raised some good ones. And the Fifth Circuit ruled summarily in favor and against the SEC and said, yeah, you can't do this. You have a Seventh Amendment right to a trial by jury, among other things. That's not something a lot of people think about. And yes, it would apply to the quote unquote states if there were states. The Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states, so you can't use it directly, but it would apply in territories. And in my view, it might apply in states, but the arguments that I make, I have multiple unopposed issues, including the main one: there are no states. If that's true, then there's no need for any judicial courts, and we don't have any, and we don't have any redress of grievance there. And where I am, all the acts out here are done in the name of the people of the state of California. Unfortunately, in the Constitution they think is currently in effect, the people of the state of California are conspicuously undefined. We don't have a clue who they are. Not there. Not only that, but we, the people of the state of California, from the original Constitution, free, white, male, 21, I make no apologies for it. That's the way it was. It's the way it is. And, if we get back to that federated Republican form of government we had in that era, we're going to be much better off. It won't be perfect, but we can make changes from there and make them consistent with the Constitution, not in contradiction of all 6 articles like the 14th Amendment. So that's the big deal here. We actually have enforceable rights, and you can't go into a situation with the SEC, or the IRS is another one, the Franchise Tax Board, you name it. Doesn't work that way. We have a right to trial by jury according to the courts of the common law. The jury rules on the facts and the law. And as here, for example, as all of the jury pool members being members of the sovereign body politic, the people of the state of California, if we don't like what our agents do in Sacramento, we can take care of business. And so can you. We actually have a voice to be heard, and we're not bound by these stupid ass elections. We have no electorate here, no elections. They mean not a rat's ass here. There's nothing you can do with it, and it gets a lot more interesting than that. And by the way, for more information, send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. I'll get you information out on what I do and how I do it. You're going to love it. And it spans far greater than just criminal cases. This goes to what look like civil cases, but they're not. The Franchise Tax Board, IRS, things like that, mortgage loans, student loans, and CPS and family stuff. And this is really high on my radar right now because these bastards think they can do anything, take away your children, without any process at all. And in the case I'm currently working with a premeditated, perjured warrant to steal a 3-day-old girl from their parents in the best interest of the child. Who the hell doesn't know the best interest of a 3-day-old child is with the mother, for crying out loud? What's hard about this? Nothing. But the good news here with SEC, and this is only Fifth Circuit right now, but I read an article where a former commissioner of the SEC said, look out. The SEC shouldn't take this case to the Supreme Court because if they do, they're going to lose. I don't know if he's fully up to speed on why they're going to lose, but he's dead bang right about it. And in fact, when I saw this case, my first thought was, I wonder if they mentioned LIU versus SEC, like recent case I'm familiar with on the same grounds. And lo and behold, it was there. This is from the U.S. Supreme Court. And number two, I said, I wonder if they mentioned the Tenure of Office Act of 1867. They did. And you can't mention that. And the case that the Supreme Court reversed it in the 1920s, 60 years later, if you don't know the history, because that Tenure of Office Act was what they used to try to impeach Andrew Johnson, our 17th last and best president in office. They failed by one vote. And had that gone to the Supreme Court at that time, I'm sure they would have ruled that Tenure of Office Act unconstitutional. As it was, it took them 60 years up until the mid 1920s to do it. But if you're the conservative citing cases like this, you know what's behind it, because you've done your work. Even if you didn't learn it in the law school, you've done your independent study, and you know the connections here. And that's what's important for us. And what tells me more than anything, and especially with the U.S. Supreme Court seemingly closely in line with the Fifth Circuit these days, this tells me that the 9 parts are going to have our backs when we get there. Maybe not on all of our issues, but we don't need but one or two to beat these bastards and set a trend and get our Republican form of government back. Federated Republican form of government of defined and limited powers. Not the goddamn democracy that they have. 3 wolves and 2 sheep voting on what's for dinner. Ain't never has worked anywhere in the world, isn't going to work anywhere in the world. And the best illustration I can cite for this one is they got the same government over there in Pyongyang, North Korea. I mean, what do we need with that? We want the one we had. It wasn't perfect. No one's saying it was. It's only the best government ever created. We can go back to there, start from there, make changes that we want consistent with the Constitution. And now everybody has enforceable rights, not civil rights, which come from the 14th Amendment, but which when you get my material, you're going to learn in a hurry. The 14th Amendment not only doesn't exist, it never did. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional contemporaneously in 1867, but were not allowed to announce the opinion. That's the kind of BS we have to get through, but it's all there on the record in black and white. That's the only jurisdiction you ever see when you go into one of their courtrooms. Ain't not there. I mean, it's so bad that the sovereign body politic of the nation and republic, let alone the state in which you're domiciled, are systematically excluded from virtually all branches of government. How in the world is that? And think about this. It brings up the magic 4 words for me, because if we're systematically excluded and we created the whole thing to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our Constitution, where is the consent of the governed? It's not there, is it? They don't have it. They're not acting in any official capacity, and therefore they don't have any of this BS qualified, if not unlimited judicial immunity that the Supreme Court says they have. But when you read those cases they decided, you're going to learn that we can easily distinguish those. They don't apply anymore, because we're not making any BS civil rights claims. We're making real claims here against them for violating their oath of office. That's how we get it back. And that's what I want to do. Whether I get across the Red Sea with you, I don't know. I've got a good probably 8 or 10 years, what with family genes, history, and whatnot. But I will help you get there. If I don't do it myself, I'll leave a path you can follow me. So that said, let me just subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The quicker we start working all together here and cut out this divide and conquer BS, the faster we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.